Stop trying to be everything to everyone. Find your niche, deliver the premium experience, and your business will most likely grow and thrive, right?
Welcome to the RV Entrepreneur Podcast, the weekly show for nomads, work campers, RVers, and entrepreneurs looking to earn a living or build a business while enjoying the RV lifestyle. This week's host is Rose Willard. Let's settle in and enjoy the RV Entrepreneur Podcast, brought to you by RV Life.
Hello, RV Entrepreneurs.
All right, guys, welcome back to the RV Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Rose, and today I am here with Glynn and Jim, my co-hosts. It's so great to be back again together. And we're doing something a little different. Again, we're revisiting our AUA or AMA, whatever you want to call it, that episode from January. And we're checking in on how things have been going since then. And we'll be reflecting on our goals, challenges, successes, and hopefully giving you some inspiration and practical tips to power through the rest of the year. So first, let's do a quick catch up. For those of you who are new to the podcast, I'm Rose, wife to Glynn, who's the other host here, and I wear many hats as a mom, entrepreneur, and often I have many little side gigs kind of going on there. But mainly I live to work on the customer service side of our businesses and some of the content online. Glynn and I are still in Delaware, and we've been in sort of a transition phase in our entrepreneurship. We might get to that today. And we're also selling our camper van, if anyone is interested. Big news there. Jim, how about you?
Sure. This is the RV Life Entrepreneur, so we'll talk about our RV life for a minute. I'm the Jim part of Jim and Renee at Live Work Dream, and we run the Tripods pet amputation community. We just landed at our we've been work camping for like 17 years. We just landed at a new work camping job in Estes Park, Colorado, to snow. And here we are in late May, and it's blowing snow and wind, so hopefully I won't get cut out or pick up all that noise. And I'm happy to be settled in for the summer after driving from California to Oregon to Colorado. And our big project right now we're working on is our annual virtual marathon for the Tripods Foundation that we run. And this is, we manage it through an app called Racery. If anyone wants to host an event where you plan a route and log your miles or convert activities, I highly recommend Racery. We've got racers or runners from all over the world participating, and all of our proceeds go to help amputee pets and their people.
Fantastic, Jim.
That's cool.
Yeah. Glynn, elaborate a little bit more here.
On where I've been and what we're doing here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. We're struggling with not being unhappy staying in Delaware for the current time being. It is the opportunities that have presented themselves that have handcuffed us to this particular region of the country. So I think we'll talk more about in this podcast how Rose and I deal with, being a place where we don't like to be. Because, most of you who are listening, you know this. If you're not happy in a boondocking location, what do? You pick up and you move. Ooh. Unless you're work camping like Jim is right now and it's snowing. But
right. We've been exposed to so many places traveling throughout the few years we were on the road. And we love the West. There's so much more things to do outside in nature versus the East Coast here. It's very congested. Not many mountains where we are. It's pretty flat in Delaware.
No mountains. You have three choices here. I think you can go shopping, you can go out to dinner, or you can stay in your house.
Ooh.
But that's what being an entrepreneur is all about, right? You're setting your own rules, you're making your own plans, you're setting your own schedules and working on what you want to be working on to fulfill your own purpose, which we're all kind of doing. And we have lots to catch up on that. But first, let's just do a little quick business that keeps this episode online.
Hey RVers, let's be real. Your RV showerhead isn't great. And even if you swapped it out for something better, chances are it's just a shinier version of the same old thing. And if you're really lucky, those stiff hose kind of let you get wet, but definitely not where you want it. That's where Waterpick comes in. A global leader in water technology, they've designed the Transform RV showerhead to change the way you shower on the road, making it easier and more efficient to shower in tight RV spaces. While other RV showerheads have limited spray adjustments, the Transform RV's unique 360-degree pivoting head allows you to customize to any spray angle without having to remove it from the bracket. This means you can reach your desired spray area and shower with both hands free. This shower head doesn't just work better, it feels better. It's engineered to deliver powerful, consistent water flow. Its multiple spray settings are optimized to get the most out of your water tank. And with the new trickle switch, you can conserve water without that shocking blast of cold or hot water when you turn it back on. It's available in white, chrome, and nickel. The Waterpick Transform RV showerhead is ready to upgrade your RV shower. Head over to Amazon and check it out now.
All right. So back in January, we talked about setting some smaller, stress-reducing, realistic goals, right? So looking at the past few months, Jim and Glynn, how did that approach actually work for you? Jim?
For me personally, it worked great because I set the bar really low. We had a lot planned out for the year. We knew we were going to be driving thousands of miles. We're running through a few marathons in there and ending up at a work camping job. So I'm really glad we didn't plan any major projects while doing all that driving and training.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
Let's see. Smaller goals. Well, I feel like we're in this like molasses stage of our life right now where things are moving very slowly. So no matter how finite the goals are, they're still where I find myself needing to focus on the really big picture right now, because my decisions of which opportunity I choose to pursue depends where we live and what that, and these are big differences. And what I've struggled with is that almost every opportunity that has presented itself, and maybe RV entrepreneurs can appreciate this, is based on the location where you are. So everything that's presenting itself is in Delaware, which is not our first choice.
Right.
So the goals, I just keep focusing on the big goals, because right now the small goals of spending more time with each particular customer or client that I've taken on, that's the easy part. There's no, well, I'm really in tune with them because I'm only dealing with 3 different companies right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So kind of getting into more of those goals, I guess let's get into if, you've totally hit that goal or you maybe failed it since we last checked in. So how did that go for you, Jim?
So like I was kind of mentioning and teasing out there, our primary goal was kind of just like stay the course, maintain current level of business and operations with our various irons in the fire as we manage our membership community and we have clients that we deal with and we work for RV Life. But the goal was to kind of stay the course and maintain, not really necessarily grow. Though we did launch a new community new membership community on the Circle platform. So our goal there was let's focus on engagement and retention. So we're not necessarily implementing paywalls and that sort of thing with this community because it's funded by our foundation. And our goal is to help people get more engaged and retain and keep coming back to participate on this social media feed that isn't Facebook or Twitter or wherever. It's a familiar social feed. It's our own community platform. So what I did is I implemented and automated certain workflows using some AI tools that Circle offers that will, they offer what has like a leaderboard. So it's kind of a gamification of what's going on with engagement. So if people, the more they comment, the more points they get. And when they first on board, I have certain workflows. So, oh, you uploaded your profile photo, then you get a few extra points. And if you didn't, you don't. So we're kind of working on the engagement and growing the Circle community. Other than that, there's the consulting side I mentioned that we work on. And I had informed clients that I was going to be less available this summer. So I was kind of warning my top clients, and I was kind of turning down new referral business. And then in all that marathon training I mentioned, I ended up injuring myself. I've got some tendinopathy going on, and I went and saw rehab and realized that I need some real rehab. And that is an investment in yourself with a number of sessions that costs money that wasn't on the budget. So when it rains, it pours. Actually, a new client reached out to me. We first talked years ago, and they just happened to say, hey, now I'm ready. So, you juggle a lot of things when you're an entrepreneur, and kind of like living in Delaware, you bite the bullet and you put up with what you have to put up with. So this summer is going to be busier after hours than I thought. And I'm going to actually, warn the clients and be totally transparent about my schedule and availability, but go ahead and take the extra work on. So goals wise, they've changed, and we're still going to work towards them.
Yeah.
My guess is that your clients don't mind because you're so transparent and upfront.
Yes, and they really appreciated that. And they, the one new client, it's a considerable, large project in the future, and it's a maintenance project that they need help with. They got ghosted by someone else. I think that's unacceptable. And I said, yes, I can help you, but fair warning. I'll be working after hours, and if you have an emergency, it might be a few hours. So I think the takeaway from that little rant I went on there is be transparent. If you're working with customer service in any method whatsoever, or you have clients, be transparent about your capabilities. If you're out there boondocking and you're not going to have internet for a couple of days, let your people know. That sort of thing.
Yeah. Be real upfront and communicate.
Communicate. Yes. You just said it, Rose.
Yeah. So one of Glynn and our goals for the one company working on, to find more companies, right, to work with. And you did find another company.
I did find a third company. So two of the companies I'm working with, I am helping them find funding, grant-based funding through NIH and NSF. And grant writing is a special skill set that I am developing that I truly enjoy, because you can put your head down and you can really analyze a business and pick it apart and then put it into a presentation that you feed to the academic society or groups for the funding, and then you sit and wait for 6 months while you wait for their decision as to whether you're going to be funded or not. Now, this funding, the nice thing about it is I'm planting seeds, because for these companies, I'm writing myself in as co-principal investigator, and that means I can write my salary into the budget. So, and there's a specific and there's a cap. It has to be very, very specific for that business. But we're talking next year. So it solves none of our problems now. So this is great. If we get funding, then I have an income that is a different income from what I'm working on. Now, the third company is one that we started and got off the road. We didn't start the company, but we got off the road for this particular company. There were some personal issues that I had with them and I think as part of some of our future questions on this particular podcast was, have we moved forward from anything? What I found is that I had such a difficult time dealing with this personal conflict that I didn't want to work on and help with this business. So I've had to learn to let that go.
Yeah, you have, and you're working hard. You're doing well with it. It's not easy.
So, not to take this thing and run it off the rails, but you mentioned a couple what sounds like federal sources of funding. So having firsthand experience in this, with the current state of affairs and certain dodgy things going on, if there are other entrepreneurs out there dealing with federal funding, is it impacting you, or what concerns do you have about the state of affairs?
From what I'm working on now, the money that is laid out for 2025 has already been put in place. Right. So that is secure. What we're looking at 2026 is the issue. So as long as I have all of these applications within the 2025 deadline, we should still be okay. Yeah. Am I wasting my time? I don't think so.
With such, far out, not far out, but far ahead product roadmaps, do you have any advice for people to fill in the gaps financially now when you're talking about product development that's really going to fill the pockets way down the road?
Oh my. Are you talking when it comes to like getting federal funding and the steps one would take, or?
Whether it's funding and grant writing or just a product development roadmap that shows income in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. Meanwhile, you mentioned, doing something else to generate the income now. Just any thoughts on that in any other mindset or actual tips to, keep the business going while you're planning the business in the future that's going to sustain you?
Well, Jim, you just said it. It's gig work. I take on gig work that's very short term, and I fill in the gaps with that kind of stuff. Now, the grant writing itself does pay. So I do charge for that because you're talking in excess of 100 hours. And I'm sure you're familiar with that, Jim, of really analyzing a business. As long as, you're taking on something to make ends meet, but it's not permanent and it's going to end within that time frame, then I think one would be safe.
We're familiar with that. And a certain client comes to mind, a longtime client who discovered what we're doing on Circle, and I'm trying to convince her to do the same. It requires an investment, and it can ramp up and generate big income down the road once you implement the paywalls, but you can't get over that main hump of, it's so expensive. And I'm trying to, there's different ways to get around it and or bite the bullet and fund it, and if you build it, they will come, sort of thing.
Oh, that's a tough position to be in. Yes, if you build it, they will come.
Hopefully, right?
Yes. That's the build the website and they will come in a year later. So, but we won't go down that path.
Right.
Yeah. No. And so we talked also a little bit about success and kind of what we feel success is to us personally. But has that changed at all for any of us this year? What does it look to you now compared to last time? Yeah.
Not necessarily for me, and I kind of, ranted too long about it earlier, but our primary KPIs, our key performance indicators, they've kind of remained the same. And like I said, we're kind of focusing on engagement and retention rather than growth at this time. So we kind of have this mindset that slow and steady wins the race right now for us.
Yeah. And for us, it's more like geographically, where does each opportunity take us? And I think it has changed our definition of success, but
yes, it has. Originally it was, to me, success means being able to be anywhere we want to be, nomadically, with enough income to support the family. I'm not looking for millions of dollars.
Right.
But
realistically,
to raise a family of 4, we're finding that I need to check that A, attitude, and B, I need to, accept that this chapter in our life will probably be in Delaware for a portion of time because we got off the road for that first particular business. And it has taken 2.5 years now, where when I got off the road, the promise was we're going to make millions right out of the gates. And I knew that wasn't going to happen, but I thought it was going to be a lot faster than this. So I have to check that attitude aside, accept that we're going to be here now, and go ahead and dive back into that business, because I know that we can take it somewhere and help them get that equipment out on the market a lot faster and better and have better applications and uses for it. And when it does take off, we really are talking millions of dollars.
It really helps to have that big picture mindset. And I keep thinking with this conversation about some advice that I give every new digital nomad that think it's all just unicorns and rainbows out there and I'm going to buy a van and hit the road. And it's, if you're going to operate a business or plan to from the road, you're going to be an RV entrepreneur, you need to redefine success. Because if you think you're going to, continue that company or that growth that you had in the past in your sticks and bricks or whatever your business model was and take it on the road, I'm a perfect example. We had a full service marketing communications firm with lots of equipment and lots of clients all around the world, lots of production going on, big budget, making decent money. When we decided to hit the road, we planned and budgeted for a year off. And A year into that, we realized we could start working online, but we redefined success. We weren't making nearly as much money as we used to, but we were feeling much more fulfilled. So we kind of put lots of irons in the fire, developed multiple revenue streams, and looked at that big picture down the road. And when one of those irons started glowing, we blew on that one and focused on it. Meanwhile, we're doing our best to remain debt-free and have this multiple income and an emergency plan, and just not forget the mindset of success equals six-figure income that first year. There's alternative forms of income, and that is things like enjoying where you are, enjoying your stay, saving by work camping and saving on rent and that sort of thing. But to me, when someone says, how am I going to make tons of money working from the road, I'm going to tell them, redefine what you mean by success and take it from there.
Yeah, definitely a mindset shift, one that we started with and did well with, and now we're kind of adapting a little differently.
Struggling with, I need to be transparent. And be honest here. It's difficult for us. We expected change faster. And it took us, when we started our first business, it took us a year before we took a paycheck. And then it took us several years before we started to make a living. Mm-hmm. But now, when you're used to, and just like you said, when you're used to having that kind of revenue coming in and your own take home that is very comfortable, and it doesn't come back for nearly 5 years,
right? It's
troubling.
Right. Yeah. That's it. You expect, more now, you've done more now, you expect it just to kind of happen.
And it should be, I think anyone listening who is thinking about, starting a business on the road, they need to really listen and understand that it's going to take a lot of work, and you might end up 4 years later, not where you want to be.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, also, if you have an income and you're thinking about this, don't just, sell it all and get rid of that income, keep that income, then have your side gigs go and build those strong enough that you can, stop your original form. Yeah.
And I don't want to sound like Eeyore. I honestly, I'm optimistic, and I know that this is coming. We've been working very hard for this, and it's coming. Yeah. But I just want people who are listening to really understand that
patience.
That Rose just, draws her hand at patience. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And that slow and steady, like Eeyore, does win the race. I see it so many times in the work camping group that I manage, and people ask for advice, and others go, just do it. You'll be fine. Oh, I want to hit the road. Oh, just do it. And we didn't do it that way. We planned and budgeted. And I think, especially when it comes to running a business from the road, the requirements change. You need to, write in certain things into your budget for emergencies. Like some of those larger rigs out there, you might pay $400 for a single tire, and tires blow out, or mechanical things happen, or you may be stuck somewhere. Prices go up. So I think the requirements change, and you got to look at that big picture and budget accordingly.
Definitely.
This episode is made possible by Travelfy. Want reliable internet without the hassle? Meet Travelfy. It's portable, high-speed Wi-Fi that's ready to go wherever you are. From road trips to remote cabins. No tricky setup or permanent location required. Just plug in and you're connected. And here's the best part. No contracts, no commitments, and no reactivation fees. Pay only for the months you need. Travelfy connects to the strongest available signal among multiple major networks, so you stay online with confidence, backed by a US-based support team that knows the outdoor lifestyle. Travelfy, simplifying internet while you travel. Visit travelfy.com today. That's TRAVLFI.com. Listeners can save 15% with code RVE at checkout.
All right, let's move on to customers, community, and connection. So we talked about keeping promises to customers. Jim, was there a time this quarter where that really paid off or maybe challenged you? Like for Glynn and I, it's not really applicable for the 6 months we've been doing it, but how about you?
Yeah, you're in the consulting phase and it's a little different, but we do offer some product sales through our Tripods website and that community. And the hardest part is we compete with Amazon. People see on social media, what harness is best for a three-legged dog? Oh, get this on Amazon. And the advantage that we provide is personal service. I mean, if someone wants to ask about a harness for their dog, they can pick up the phone and talk to Renee. And if they mention they have a German Shepherd, they'll be on the phone for hours. But we've had customers who appreciate that advice because they get the right harness for their dog, whether it's a rear or front leg. I go talk about it for hours. But it comes down to providing that direct customer service, having someone they can actually call. And we've had, someone who might have made a single purchase a year or two ago, and years later they come back and they make a big donation to our foundation because we were so helpful to them, or they join the community that they discovered because they made this purchase, because we've got automations in place that say, hey, how was that product? Maybe you want to come over here and share your story, and they join the community and they get that other product that we sell, which is the number one product, a warm, fuzzy feeling. We create that community environment for our customers, and we offer them, a phone number where they can call and talk to us.
I love that customer service. You're speaking my language.
Yeah, my language too.
So how about staying connected? Have you tried anything new to stay connected?
Well, you're using your Circle, right?
Yeah, that's your Circle thing, right?
I'm just, I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but I'm a huge fan. I've been a member of a couple different Circle communities, and it's just a great platform for people to connect with others. The reason we did it, and there's an article in the RV Entrepreneur news blog about why we chose. There's plenty of platforms out there that I touch on that might be better for you depending on what you're doing. But we now 18 years ago, June 2nd will be 18 years of us traveling. That long ago, we created a website. We installed discussion forums, and, now it's okay to call them old school discussion forums because that's a platform that not everyone's familiar with, and the topics and the threads, and hard to upload a photo or you have to insert code. So we had two goals, and one was to make the user experience much easier and simpler to upload a photo and more familiar with a modern, quote unquote, looking, platform, and make it easier to manage. I was always pulling my hair out when something would break with WordPress and the forums wouldn't work. And then Circle, if it breaks, it's on them and they do it. So we're staying connected using that and through automations. And I could go down the AI rabbit hole, but real quick, I touch on it. I was invited to talk about what we did with our Circle community. You can create an AI agent of your own. And I was leery. I'm like, no, we don't want AI. I'm all about that warm, fuzzy feeling and that connection with the founders. But they allowed us to create an agent trained on our own content. So it's not just pulling info from the web. We fed it the ebooks that we have written, and we fed it transcripts from our podcast, Tripod Talk Radio, and our best blog posts. And of course, I named the agent Jerry after the whole reason we hit the road. And I launched it quietly, and then I put it in our platform. And it's amazing to see these people having these discussions with Jerry. And I put in, there's red flags you can put in. So if someone is talking about bleeding or, emergency situation, the AI stops. The agent will stop and say, please call your vet. Or it'll hand off the conversation to one of the admins like us. So we're able to communicate and connect more directly without putting a lot of extra time into it, because this agent was trained on our content. It sounds like us. I mean, it's written in our voice that we've written for too many years. So we're connecting through community engagement platform and a touch of AI.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I bet that that really helps when life and business, everything kind of gets busy too, right? You can kind of automate that. And
that's incredible. I'm sorry. I'm mesmerized. I love this.
It saves us time because everyone has the same questions when they first join, and they're overwhelmed, and the answers are there if you know where to look for them. But now we can just say, ask Jerry anytime. And you go to your DM inbox and there he is. And it's amazing. We had members try and stump the bot and asked a curveball question about their own personal dog. And Jerry, the bot, came back and said, Cody Ray was a dog from the Oaktown Pack, blah, 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 because we've written about him in our ebooks. So it really, she said, okay, I'm a fan now. And she's an anti-AI member. So it works.
Yeah, sweet. So, touching back on that life and business getting hectic and busy, and as a family of four too, it gets a little out of control at times. Keeping customer interactions feeling authentic and not just tasks you have to check off and not just a transaction, right? That can be challenging. We only have a few consulting clients, so it's not really an issue right now. But I would say this is an ongoing effort for many, not just a one-time fix, right? You need to have that genuine interest in helping your customers build that relationship. And when you get busy, it's easy to fall back on these robotic, responses. But resisting that urge is a very good thing. And then maybe block off time, in your day, time slots in your calendar so that you can focus on customer communication. What do you think?
Oh, definitely. And I've been talking forever here, and I kind of mentioned a lot of it, but Glynn, you mentioned picking up a couple new clients, and I wonder if you can talk about how this authenticity differs when your client is the customer who searched for something and buys something and leaves, but this relationship you're developing is much larger, for lack of a better word, and longer term, and maybe a bit more complicated. So how do you keep that authentic conversation from the beginning when you're looking at something, longer term, and you pick up someone new and you're reaching out to them? They may not know you from Adam. With me, it's just another customer and I make a few bucks and hopefully I retain them. But when you're dealing with fewer, less, more important per se, how do you do that? How do you appear authentic off the bat is what I'm getting at, because it's kind of more important to you. People kind of find us, but you're out there trying to find those bigger clients.
Well, I think I stumbled on, and one of them happens to be a very, very long time friend. The third one who came into the picture, I stumbled across, just, online stuff, but it's such an in-depth conversation from the beginning, because these people have to disclose things about their business that require an NDA. So once I have all that information, it really gives me a lot of dialogue to go back and forth with them. And as I dive in, I always have questions. And when someone is asking or presenting you, Jim, with questions about your business, and they're asking legitimate questions where they've really researched things, then you know that they actually care. Yeah. And I think that comes across, and I absolutely do not waste my time with someone that I don't want to be involved with, or I don't care about their business. If I don't feel like it's viable or it doesn't jive with me, it rubs me the wrong way, I just don't do business with them. So that's and then we did that at Paradigm, and when you would have leads that you could tell were tire kickers or that they just didn't fit. I figured out how to filter them out so that we wouldn't have to be perceived as bad customer service.
That's really smart. And what comes to mind is I was really impressed with the way a physical therapy clinic worked out for me, and amazed with the Facebook algorithm. So yes, I had some serious foot issue going on, and I did an online consult with someone because I saw their booth at a marathon. It turned out to be a large organization that they just used. So I ended up talking to someone. The minute I landed in Fort Collins, Colorado, I saw an ad for a Fort Collins clinic. And they had a great landing page, and it was the owner of the clinic, and it was very screened. It wasn't like, come in, here's your thing, but it was an offer. And I got the first visit for $49 when it was usually $215. And then if you book now, we'll give you another 10 off. And it looked very salesy, and I was a little leery when I'm talking to the guy, but I find out he's the owner of the place. And it was just authentic. They were doing phone screening. And he told me, we want to make sure you're happy with the way we work with you. We want you as a long-term patient. We want to address your needs. So he was screening out those tire kickers. And when I got in there, I had my session. I got a full hour. I only paid, a small amount of money. It was well worth it. But the owner of the clinic came out and talked to me, and I commended him on how he was doing that. And, I knew how he was getting people in the door with his landing page and his funnel and that sort of thing. And I commended him on it. But for us personally, it comes back to, purpose and remembering the why we're doing what we're doing. And this purpose thing comes up on, it seems, every single episode of this podcast that I do. And it's so important because, our why is we never want anyone to feel lost and alone the way we did when our dog lost a leg. So it's kind of our purpose. And that payment, like I mentioned earlier, might come in alternative forms of currency. either through member acknowledgement or when leading oncologists at teaching hospitals recommend their patients with their parents, the people of their patients, to us, and they say, oh, CSU told me to come to Tripods, it just means so much.
Yes.
That's powerful.
Goes a long way. That is powerful. All right. Can we get even more real right now, personally? Well, these are crazy times in the U.S. right now. And it can take a toll on our personal well-being. How's it holding up for you guys? You know, any new routines or habits? Like I felt very anxious in the beginning, and I don't know. But I'm making conscious efforts right now to focus on what I can control.
Yeah,
right?
And focus on what matters to you, right? I mean,
yes.
Glynn mentioned there real quickly, and it's actually an option to ignore it. I mean, in the greater scope of things, we can't maybe not necessarily ignore it for the long term, but we can stop having it pound into our head every single moment by just get off the feed or get off that certain radio channel that you listen to. We started to, we usually listen to NPR in the morning and then transition to music as the work gets flowing. And we're finding ourselves turning off NPR a lot sooner. Once we hear a certain name a number of times or certain ludicrous actions that might be taking place, or like we get our comedy and our news from Stephen Colbert, and that's great, but still you're still finding out about things that are going on that are crazy. So we're considering signing up for Masterclass, which is like, instead of, you can actually learn something, watch something and learn instead of, just get away from that feed and focus on health. I mean, get out there, whether it's meditation or running or biking or, focus on the health. And we talked about that in one of our first AMAs when we talked about, healthy mind, healthy business sort of thing. So that's where it is for us. Focus on our own inner health and just not let it get to us. Because when it comes down to it, we might not have control of that situation, but we have control about how we react to it.
That's what I was going to respond with, Jim. And I think you'll have a lot more control if you take a master class, because you'll walk away with some new skill set or new, trivial info, cocktail trivia, anything. You'll walk away with something better than a bad mood.
And that's why I love podcasts too. I mean, this podcast, any podcast we listen to, I love, as I'm getting ready in the morning, I'm listening to that, or driving, always learning something. That's great. And also trying to designate that one day a week, like Sundays, where we're just like off, all social media off, computer off, shut it off. It's so good. And then, of course, getting out in nature. Oh, man, crave it.
Force baths.
So good.
I keep staring past you, Jim. No offense, but I see the tree in the background, and it is very distinct Colorado.
Yes,
and I am so jealous because I love Colorado.
It feels so good to be back. We spent our winter in the desert in Southern California, and I keep reminding myself, 2 weeks ago, I was in shorts and a tank top, 100-degree weather, getting miserable, and then I show up here and it's snowing and blustery, and sure, that might last a few more days, maybe a few more weeks, if that. But change. Since you have the nomadic lifestyle, if you're not enjoying certain things, we can change.
Oh, I miss it.
Or plan for that change, right, guys?
Yes, we're planning. Yes. Oh my gosh, getting back.
Ever wished you could learn more about RVing from the experts? With RV Life Masterclass, you can. Gain access to a wealth of knowledge through online courses and a resource library filled with insightful guides. Whether you're a novice RVer or a seasoned traveler, there's always something new to learn. Start expanding your RV knowledge today by visiting rvlife.com.
The year's almost half over.
That's great.
Right? Not quite, but what's something you decided to maybe hold off on, or what's something that's new that you're aiming, for in the remainder of this year? Like for us, I guess part of it is we're shifting gears. We're selling our camper van. We're not, we're kind of pausing RV life. We're not completely done. Our hearts are there and we love our community. So we're still here. But it's really time to double down on these opportunities. So,
yeah, I think I've been dragging my feet on some of the opportunities because I miss full-time RV so much. I don't want to. I know that once I really commit to one of these, that RVing is over for a while.
Yeah.
And that's upsetting to me.
It is. Or we reminisce, but our boys, they're ready for this pause right now too. We have to take that into account. It's not just us, it's our boys as well, and homeschooling. And you could do homeschool on the road, mind you, but different activities and things that kind of ground us for now. It's just a season.
We were faced with a similar situation just this past week. We have a duplex, one of our forms of income, and a place where we hope to live someday. And we went back to look at our stuff and sort through our stuff that we have in the garage there, because we came back to our stuff. And one of our renters in the unit that we prefer said he wasn't going to renew. So we thought, maybe let's just move in there for a while. Let's come back and let's settle down and let's move in. And we had it like almost all planned out, and we did some numbers. Oh, we could still travel and then Airbnb the back so we had kind of this new idea that, you were kind of asking about what's new. And we thought that was going to be our new plan. And then the front renters said, we're also moving out. Oh. And that meant, flipping both units, a considerable outlay depending on, considering how long they've been there. But we were looking at, paying for the transition of both of these, and then, having to pay to get the new tenant in front. And we just shifted gears back to the status quo and said, you know what, let's just rent them both out again, because we now have this new RV as well that we went into debt for because we found so much crap out there. So our goal is to continue with the plan, pay off the RV, and put off moving back into that community, physical community that we've missed for a while.
Very, very good. Let's talk about some lessons. Any lessons that came up that we really learned from this year? Like we're going to continue to place our energy into what moves the needle forward rather than, we don't quite like Delaware, we're moving past that. How about you, Jim?
Sure. Personally, I finally have learned to let go on certain things. We didn't grow our old business for the longest time because I couldn't let go the way I did things. Or case in point, we did social media for our business for the past 15, 16 years and didn't really love that aspect of it. We had to do it. I tell people I'm on Facebook because Tripods is, and I have to be there. So we actually let go of that. And, we were struggling with balancing the social media and the time spent there. We hired a social media expert, and it was actually Lupe from Lupe Media, and
yes.
He's a guest that I interviewed, so I will drop the notes in there for him. And it was a little difficult because we have a special audience, a special kind of voice. It's a sensitive subject, and so far he's nailed it. And he showed us some insights over the first quarter that shows, wow, engagement is up, because we were only kind of doing shotgun approach and, it's social media. Oh, we better put that on the Facebook too. But to have someone who jumped on board, really did an analysis of what our content is and who our audience is, and regularly posts on a regular schedule and is matching our style and our tone. So it was really good to let go of that struggle. And sure, it's a new expense, and we don't necessarily gain a lot of income with the content we're producing so far. But now that we see it's working, we can translate that into let's do more product content now that we know that's working. So it eventually pays for itself. Regardless, it's that alternative currency, once again, that comes back with a larger audience, larger reach, people discovering our community and such.
Oh, that's so good. And just finding that trust and being able to let go. So hard, but you're prime example of how it's working out.
Well, that's a strong endorsement for Lupe too. Mm-hmm. And that's a strong endorsement for how someone should manage social media if they're doing it for another client.
Right.
So, yeah.
Very, very good.
It comes back to authenticity. And so far, he's nailed it. It seems like it's our authentic voice, and we'll just keep that up because it takes it off our shoulders.
Excellent. Well, I think we're going to wrap up a little bit. But first, like for the RV entrepreneurs here out there trying to figure things out, what's something, kind of piece of advice, something you learned that you wish you'd known January 1st?
What did I wish I knew January 1st? I wish I knew that it was going to be snowing in Colorado when I arrived at my work camping job.
Say that.
I was just at my garage and I could have got some warmer gear. Having set that bar pretty low for us, we didn't face a whole lot of challenges. So I'm going to pass the mic to Glynn.
Let's see. Off the top of my head, I wish that I had known that I needed to check my attitude about some of the personal issues that I had with the first company, and that I just need to double down and get busy with them because the opportunity is enormous.
That's a good point. And
now that I actually look at my own notes here, there was a big lesson, and my lesson is don't overdo it. I wish I knew that I shouldn't have run an ultra marathon and then a marathon a few weeks later and then not keep up the type of training I need to do. And that might be, based on, races and my own personal experience, but it applies to business too. And I'm hoping I'm not biting off too much and overdoing it by taking on the new clients, but I have warned them and I'm being transparent. So my lesson is don't overdo it.
Good lesson. And my little advice is focusing ruthlessly on kind of niching down, like very much so, and create that premium offer, right? Kind of feels scary, but, stop trying to be everything or, to everyone. And when you're starting the RV related businesses, especially like service-based, it's tempting to cast that wide net. You think, I can fix anything on an RV. I can offer all kinds of services. And this leads to like your diluted brand and all that stuff. But this year I've seen from some of the people I've interviewed, incredible success from like a mobile RV tank cleaning business, very specific to just cleaning tanks on an RV, or the brand RV Queens. You may have recognized that name, as I just had her on the podcast. And she focuses exclusively on women making money on the road. And then also an IG expert that I had on who focuses primarily on organic marketing for your business. So find your niche, deliver the premium experience, and your business will most likely grow and thrive, right? So I wish, we kind of internalize that a little sooner on some things, but
that's great advice.
Here we are.
But it will most likely succeed in the way you define your success. And we dropped, you mentioned a lot of episodes there. We'll drop those in the show notes.
Yes.
And one last request and or comment I have is for all the listeners out there. We do these AMAs or these AUAs once in a while, and that's usually an Ask Us Anything. We aren't getting the questions from the community, so go ahead and let us know what you want to hear. Head over to the Facebook group, Ask Us Anything, and or maybe leave a comment or even a voicemail at therventrepreneur.com, and we'll address it on the next AUA of the RV Entrepreneur.
Yes. Thank you, Jim. That's so important. We want to hear from you guys. We want to know something we're missing here. What's your burning questions? Please let us know. All right, guys. So that's it for this episode. Thanks for joining us. And we hope it's given you some food for thought and actionable steps here to make the rest of 2025 amazing. So,
amen to that. Always good to connect with you guys and share our knowledge. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Hey RVers, let's be real. Your RV shower head isn't great, and even if you swapped it out for something better, chances are it's just a shinier version of the same old thing. And if you're really lucky, those stiff hose kind of let you get wet, but definitely not where you want it. That's where Waterpik comes in. A global leader in water technology, they've designed the Transform RV showerhead to change the way you shower on the road, making it easier and more efficient to shower in tight RV spaces. While other RV showerheads have limited spray adjustments, the Transform RV's unique 360-degree pivoting head allows you to customize to any spray angle without having to remove it from the bracket. This means you can reach your desired spray area and shower with both hands free. This shower head doesn't just work better, it feels better. It's engineered to deliver powerful, consistent water flow. Its multiple spray settings are optimized to get the most out of your water tank. And with the new trickle switch, you can conserve water without that shocking blast of cold or hot water when you turn it back on. It's available in white, chrome, and nickel. The Waterpik Transform RV Shower Head is ready to upgrade your RV shower. Head over to Amazon and check it out now.